Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, your lovely host, and it is time for Marvel's Spider-Man review. Marvel's Spider-Man is a third-person, open-world action-adventure game and was developed by Insomniac Games and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment, which means that it is a PlayStation exclusive. What does this mean for you? Well, if you don't own a PlayStation, then you will not be able to play this game. We will be running this game on a PlayStation 4 Pro, not a PS5, because it simply costs too much, and I'm kind of broke right now. By that I mean I am unemployed and hope that my YouTube career will skyrocket, earning me millions of dollars in revenue. And that is just an overexaggeration. First, let's talk about the character models. Of course, we will look at our main character, Spider-Man, which I think Insomniac Games have done a really good job at detailing him. For instance, when we zoom in on his suit, we can see the texture of the suit with those thousands of small bumps coming out, and can even imagine how the suit feels. Even here, we can see those small bumps create really tiny shadows, which I found really impressive. Another major character that they designed well was MJ. We can see her facial emotions are smooth instead of being stiff. Her leather jacket was also detailed pretty well, and even giving it that leathery texture, if you know what I mean. However, what I found unnatural about her was her hair. They looked like they were clumped up together, giving it that unnatural look. And last but not least, we know him, we love him, and we miss him. Stan Lee. When playing the game for the first time, I was really surprised to see him. If we compare his character model to his real-life photo, we can see the attention to detail Insomniac Games did on Stan Lee's face. For example, we can see every single wrinkle on his face, and even the pores. Next, let's talk about the environment. This doesn't directly link to it, but what impressed me was when player is first introduced to Spider-Man. That introduction had one of the most seamless transitions between the cutscene and the start of the game. It actually surprised me, since I thought it would have used a black loading screen between the cutscenes and the actual game. The setting itself is in Manhattan, in a fictionalized New York City, where you can even climb the Avengers Tower if you want to. Manhattan makes a perfect setting for such a game because the player is actually able to swing around due to the high density of tall buildings. Throughout the streets, there are also a large crowd of NPCs, and the NPCs even interact with Spider-Man when he's nearby, like taking pictures of him or just saying hi. Now, when I was closely examining the windows of the buildings, I found that each one had a room behind it. However, after closer examination, I found that the design of the room is repeated over and over. Now, I understand that making a unique design for every window is difficult, but I thought they could have at least diversified the rooms instead of using the same design for every window of the building. Now, the lighting of this game was just really impressive. That's pretty much all I can say. I mean, just look at this. It looks amazing. It's one of the best lighting effects I've seen in my life. I'm just really impressed. That's all. Now, of course, we have to talk about these special effects. The water effects were done pretty well, with a little bit of dynamic movement instead of just having calm, stiff water. When Spider-Man jumps into the water, we can see that there is some rippling effect added to the water, and even some splashes. There are even reflections of the background on the building. However, we sadly cannot see Spider-Man's reflection on the glass panels. We can only see Spider-Man's reflection at a certain angle, and even that doesn't look that impressive. It just looks like Insomniac put a Slender Man into a window. Of course, we have to talk about the gameplay. The main way the player can navigate throughout the city is of course using Spider-Man's web shooters, swinging from building to building. You can also control your speed and how high you go by releasing the web at a specific time. But if you do not want to swing around, there's always a fast travel option you can choose. Although I would recommend you to swing around because you will be able to enjoy the scenery much more. Now, Spider-Man is a story-driven game, but it also has many side missions or random events that happen throughout the city. Such random events and side missions include random robberies happening on the streets, or the much more complex base clearing missions, where you try to take out all the bad guys that come at you in waves. There are even speed challenges that you can complete, or side stories that give you special rewards once you complete them. You would have to do these random events or side missions to get badges that can help you improve your equipment. The combat system is not very complex. It only uses 3 buttons on the controller. One button is for dodging attacks, another one is for punches, and one for web-type attacks. Now, right before you're attacked, Spider-Man's senses kick in, and white lines form around his head, alerting the player that he is about to be striked and should dodge, which is a nice feature to add, because it prevents the player from continuously trying to dodge without knowing when they're going to be attacked. Spider-Man has various gadgets at his disposal, such as electric webs and many more. All of these gadgets can be used together to make takedowns of enemies much more satisfying. Now, before I give you samples of in-game sound, I wanted to add that when you swing around the city, instead of just hearing the web shooters or the people on the streets, Insomniac added this majestic sound of music in the background, which I really enjoyed. But due to fear of being copyrighted, I will not be adding it in this video. And of course, a very important question. How much does this game cost? On the PlayStation Store, you can get it for around $40.
And that's a great price.
Now, through everything that we've seen, it comes down to the rating. And in my opinion, I would rate this game a 10 out of 10. Now, you might be thinking that I'm being too generous, but I'm not. I simply couldn't find that many disappointments about this game. Sure, the reflections off of the windows weren't that impressive, and the interior design of the buildings were also not very good. But I didn't find them enough to bring this game down by 1 point. So yes, I will be rating this game a 10 out of 10, and I am recommending you to play this game, because this game will keep you hooked for weeks or even months if you don't like to rush things. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next review.
Ever since the day that you